In the twilight of the 2nd century, in 180 AD, Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius drew his final breath, and the curtains fell on a century-long period of magnificence, the era of the 5 good emperors. This was Rome's golden age, a time of expansion, prosperity, and exemplary governance, which had elevated the Roman Empire to the peak of its glory. Yet, with his passing, the empire stood at a precipice, gazing into the abyss of uncertainty and turmoil that lurked in the shadows ahead. Imagine a Rome where the mantle of power was passed not through the veins of birthright like the Caesars, but on the merits of wisdom and virtue. Under the watchful eyes of Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus Pius, and finally, the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, Rome expanded its borders far and wide, reaching unparalleled heights in architecture and culture. But beyond these tangible achievements lay the era's true legacy: stability, justice, and the welfare of its people. It was a time when rulers wielded power not as a tool of domination, but as a sacred trust, to be exercised with duty and benevolence for the good of the Roman Empire and for the torment of those against it. Yet have you ever paused to ponder the pinnacle of Rome's power and how it concealed cracks in the empire's invincible armor? Could violent dictators and betrayal of leaders truly be forgotten in their past? Marcus Aurelius once reflected, a sentiment that poignantly captures the inevitable transformation of the Roman Empire from a pinnacle of enlightened rule to a period of uncertainty and change. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. This is the story of the end of the 5 good emperors, a history that unfolds the greatest of Roman imperial glory and the inevitable twilight that followed. Welcome to the Chronicles of the Raven. Nerva, the reluctant emperor. In the twilight of the 1st century, the Roman Empire stood at a crossroads, its future uncertain, teetering on the edge of tyranny and chaos after the tumultuous reign of the heinous Domitian. Enter Nerva, an elder statesman of impeccable pedigree, whose wisdom and dedication to the Roman state had earned him the respect of the Senate. Yet, Nerva's ascent to the throne was as unexpected as it was reluctant. In 96 AD, at the age of 65, he found himself thrust into the role of emperor, not through ambition but by necessity, chosen to heal the wounds inflicted by his predecessor's despotic rule. Nerva's reign, though brief, was marked by a series of reforms aimed at restoring trust in the Roman government. He understood the delicate balance of power between the Senate, the people, and the Praetorian Guard, and he sought to mend these fractured relationships. One of his first acts was to declare the damnatio memoriae of Domitian, effectively erasing the tyrant's legacy from public memory, a symbolic gesture to signify a new beginning. But Nerva was no foolhardy idealist. He was a realist who knew that the stability of the empire depended on more than just goodwill. He implemented financial reforms to relieve the burden on the poor, including the alimenta, a program designed to assist Roman child welfare, providing food and education to the young, a testament to his forward-thinking policies aimed at nurturing the future of Rome. However, due to Nerva's age, his greatest challenge lay in securing the succession. The empire had suffered enough from the whims of hereditary rule, and Nerva, childless and aging, chose a path less trodden. In a move that would forever alter the course of imperial history, he nominated Marcus Ulpius Trajanus, better known as Trajan, the governor of Upper Germany, a man of military prowess and of Spanish descent. This nomination was not just a political maneuver, but a stroke of genius ensuring the stability of the empire and setting a precedent for the adoption of capable heirs, a practice that would come to define the era of the 5 good emperors. Nerva's reign was short-lived. He died in 98 AD, having ruled for barely 16 months. Yet his legacy was profound, marking a transition from the autocracy of the decades of the vile Flavian dynasty to an era of nominated emperors characterized by merit over birthright. Nerva, the reluctant emperor, had laid the foundations for what many would call the Golden Age of Rome, a period of peace, prosperity, and enlightened rule, but not without Roman conquest. Trajan, conqueror and people's emperor. In the year 98 AD, upon the death of Nerva, Trajan ascended to the throne, ushering in an era that would see the Roman Empire reach its zenith, both in terms of territorial expansion and cultural flourishing. Born in the Roman province of Hispania, Trajan was the first emperor of provincial origin, a fact that did not diminish his Roman identity, but rather enriched it, embodying the empire's cosmopolitan nature. Trajan's military campaigns are the stuff of legend. His conquest of Dacia was not only a testament to his strategic genius, but also a boon to Rome's economy. Amidst the rugged terrains of what is now modern-day Romania, the Roman legions clashed with the formidable Dacian warriors led by the cunning King Decebalus. This confrontation was not merely a display of military might, but a strategic endeavor to secure Rome's borders and tap into the vast wealth of Dacia's gold mines. Trajan's campaigns, marked by the construction of a monumental bridge over the Danube and culminating in the dramatic fall of Sarmizegetusa, unfolded like a meticulously crafted drama showcasing Rome's engineering marvels and tactical genius. The aftermath of these bloody conflicts saw Dacia transformed into a Roman province, its treasures funneled into the empire's coffers, fueling further conquests and monumental architectural endeavors. In this golden age, the echoes of the Roman war drums in Dacia resonated as a symphony of power, ambition, and imperial grandeur, capturing the essence of Rome's unquenchable thirst for glory and expansion. The vast amounts of gold and silver extracted from Dacian mines funded his ambitious building projects and social welfare programs, ensuring his popularity among the masses. The Column of Trajan, a marvel of Roman engineering and artistry, stands to this day in Rome, a visual chronicle of the Dacian wars and a monument to Trajan's victories. But Trajan's ambitions did not stop there. He envisioned Rome's dominion extending to the furthest corners of the known world. His campaigns in the east against the Parthian Empire pushed the boundaries of Roman influence to their greatest extent, including the annexation of Armenia, Mesopotamia, and parts of the Arabian Peninsula. Trajan was not merely a conqueror, he was an empire builder, whose military expeditions were followed by the establishment of Roman governance and infrastructure, integrating these new territories into the Roman world. Yet it was not by conquest alone that Trajan endeared himself to history. His governance was marked by a profound sense of duty to the welfare of his subjects. The Alimenta program, expanded upon his predecessor's initiative, flourished under his rule, all while his public works projects, including the construction of the Trajan's market, baths, and the expansion of the port of Ostia, were designed to improve the lives of the Roman populace. Trajan's relationship with the Senate was also noteworthy. Unlike many of his predecessors, he treated this body with respect and sought its counsel, embodying the ideal of the princeps, the first among equals. His correspondence with the younger Pliny, then governor of Bithynia Pontus, offers a glimpse into an emperor deeply concerned with justice, governance, and the welfare of the provinces. At 64 years old in the far reaches of the empire in modern-day Turkey, Trajan's death in 117 AD followed a stroke that caused partial paralysis. This marked the end of an era. He left behind a realm that was larger, more prosperous, and more diverse than ever before. His successor, Hadrian, would inherit this vast empire, but it was Trajan, the people's emperor, whose legacy of conquest and benevolence set the standard by which all future emperors would be judged. In the annals of history, Trajan stands not only as a conqueror, but as a steward of Rome's golden age, a ruler whose vision and policies ensured the empire's glory for generations to come. Hadrian, the architect of the Roman Empire. In 117 AD, the mantle of leadership passed to Hadrian, a man of unparalleled intellect and curiosity whose reign would be characterized by consolidation, cultural patronage, and architectural grandeur. Unlike his predecessor Trajan, Hadrian believed not in expansion but in securing and beautifying the empire he inherited, a realm stretched across 3 continents. While he did share blood with his cousin Trajan, he was nominated out of his capability to lead Rome. Hadrian's travels were legendary. He was the most well-traveled emperor before or since, visiting nearly every province of the empire during his reign. These journeys were not mere exercises in curiosity, but strategic endeavors to fortify the empire's boundaries, inspect the military, and integrate the diverse cultures within the Roman fold more closely. Hadrian's Wall, a monumental fortification in Britannia, stands as a testament to his dedication to securing the empire's frontiers, a boundary that symbolized the limits of Roman expansion. But Hadrian was more than a military strategist. He was a patron of the arts and a visionary architect. His reign saw the construction of some of the most iconic structures of ancient Rome, including a radical reconstruction of the Pantheon, a masterpiece of Roman engineering and architecture, and the Villa Adriana at Tivoli, a sprawling estate that reflected Hadrian's taste and his passion for Greek culture. His architectural projects were not just displays of imperial power, but expressions of his belief in the civilizing mission of Rome and the unifying power of culture. Hadrian's governance was marked by a profound humanism. He implemented legal reforms aimed at protecting the weak, including slaves and minors, and sought to ensure the administration of justice throughout the empire. His relationship with the Senate was complex. While he respected its role, he did not hesitate to bypass it when he believed the interests of the empire were at stake. Yet, it was his Philhellenism, his love for Greek culture, that most distinguished his reign, earning him the moniker Graeculus or Little Greek. This affinity for Greek culture influenced not only the arts and architecture, but also the intellectual and cultural life of the empire, fostering a cosmopolitan atmosphere that celebrated the diversity within Rome's borders. Hadrian's personal life was marked by his relationship with Antoninus, a young Greek of extraordinary beauty. Their companionship was celebrated and mourned. After Antoninus's untimely death in Egypt, Hadrian deified him, founding the city of Antinopolis in his memory. This act, while deeply personal, also reflected Hadrian's vision of empire, a realm where the divine and the mortal coexisted, where personal loss could be transformed into a symbol of imperial unity and cultural integration. Hadrian died of heart failure in 138 AD at age 62, leaving behind an empire fundamentally transformed by his vision. His reign was not just a chapter in the history of Rome, but a testament to the power of culture, architecture, and humanism. Antoninus Pius, the pinnacle of peace. Following Hadrian's death, Antoninus Pius ascended to the throne, an emperor whose reign would be characterized by unparalleled peace and prosperity. Antoninus's rule, spanning from AD 138 to 161, stands as the zenith of the Roman Empire, a period marked by stability, efficient governance, and the absence of major military conflicts. Antoninus's approach to governance was defined by his judiciousness and his dedication to the principles of piety and duty, virtues that earned him the title Pius. His reign was marked by a conscientious effort to maintain harmony within the Roman state, focusing on the administration of justice, the welfare of his subjects, and the maintenance of the empire's infrastructure. Unlike his predecessors, Antoninus rarely left Italy, governing the empire through a combination of careful delegation and meticulous attention to the reports from provincial governors. One of Antoninus's significant contributions to the empire were his legal reforms, which furthered Hadrian's efforts to humanize Roman law. He issued edicts that protected the vulnerable, including measures to regulate the treatment of slaves and to ensure the welfare of orphans and widows. His administration was characterized by a lack of ego and a focus on the efficient management of the empire's vast resources, leaving his successors with a full treasury and his population with more drinkable water throughout the empire. The empire under Antoninus was a beacon of stability in the ancient world, a period of calm that allowed the Roman state to consolidate, and the Roman people to enjoy the benefits of imperial rule without the disruptions of war or political upheaval. Antoninus's relationship with the Senate was harmonious, a reflection of his moderate and conciliatory approach to governance. He was respected and loved by the Roman people, who saw in him not only a ruler, but a benevolent father figure, guiding the empire with a gentle hand. His marriage to Faustina the Elder was celebrated, and together they were seen as the embodiment of imperial virtue and stability. The death of Antoninus Pius in AD 161 marked the end of one of the most peaceful and prosperous periods in Roman history. His reign, though lacking the military conquests of his predecessors, was a golden age of good governance, a testament to the idea that the strength of the empire lay not in expansion, but in the well-being of its citizens. It was also the longest reign of all the Golden Age emperors, as realized by his death of natural causes at 74 years old. But these decades of calm were about to be tested, and the stability of the Golden Age brought to the edge. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor. In the annals of history, few rulers have embodied the ideals of their philosophy as completely as Marcus Aurelius, the last of the 5 good emperors whose reign from 161 to 180 AD marked the pinnacle of Roman imperial stoicism and the end of the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. Born into a period of unparalleled imperial prosperity, Marcus was thrust into a world beset by natural disasters, plagues, and military threats that would test the very fabric of the Roman Empire. Yet it was his Stoic philosophy, a belief in duty, rationality, and the natural order of the world that guided him through these tumultuous times. Nominated by Antoninus Pius, his reign began alongside his brother by adoption, Lucius Verus, marking the first time the Roman Empire was ruled by co-emperors. This partnership, while unconventional, underscored the era's emphasis on meritocracy and cooperation in governance. Marcus Aurelius was not merely an emperor. He was a philosopher, a student of Stoicism, which he practiced not in isolation, but as a guiding principle of his rule. His work, Meditations, written while on campaign, offers a window into his soul, a ruler grappling with the responsibilities of power and the impermanence of life. These writings reflect his innermost thoughts on duty, the nature of the universe, and the virtues of self-discipline, compassion, and humility. Marcus's reign was beset by challenges that would have overwhelmed a lesser ruler. The Antonine Plague, possibly an outbreak of smallpox or measles, ravaged the empire, decimating the population and the military at a time when external threats were mounting. The Parthian War, initiated during Lucius Verus's command, and the subsequent Marcomannic wars against Germanic tribes tested the empire's military and economic resilience. The Parthian War was a chess match of power played out in the ancient Near East, with Armenia as the board. The Parthians, Rome's age-old adversaries, made a bold move by dethroning a pro-Roman king in Armenia and setting the stage for a direct confrontation. Marcus Aurelius, alongside his co-emperor Lucius Verus, responded with a calculated counteroffensive, deploying Rome's legions to reclaim lost ground and push deep into enemy territory. However, victory came with a hidden curse, the Antonine Plague, carried back by returning troops, which would ravage the Roman populace and weaken its armies for years to come. The Marcomannic Wars occurred as if nature abhors a vacuum. In other words, the peace bought with Parthian blood was short-lived. The northern frontiers erupted as Germanic tribes, led by the Marcomanni, breached the Danube and poured into Roman territories. This was not merely a military invasion, but an existential threat that reached Rome's doorstep, underscoring the empire's vulnerabilities. Marcus Aurelius found himself in the paradoxical role of a war leader, spending years on campaign to repel the invaders and secure the empire's borders. These conflicts were more than just battles. They were catalysts for transformation within the empire. To fund the colossal war effort, Marcus Aurelius took unprecedented steps, from auctioning imperial treasures to levying new taxes. The legacies of these wars went beyond the battlefield, prompting reforms in military strategy and fortifications along the empire's frontiers. While Lucius Verus supposedly died from the Antonine Plague in 169 AD, leaving Marcus Aurelius as the sole Roman emperor. The wars eventually concluded with Rome securing its borders and establishing a measure of peace with the Germanic tribes, but the effort drained the empire's resources and weakened its military. The aftermath of these conflicts, along with the impact of the Antonine Plague, left the Roman Empire in a vulnerable state, setting the stage for further challenges in the years to come. The story of these wars under Aurelius's reign encapsulates the duality of the Roman Empire's golden age, a time of unparalleled cultural and architectural achievements, shadowed by relentless military challenges. It serves as a poignant reminder of the impermanence of peace and the constant vigilance required to maintain the glory of an empire. Despite these crises, Marcus remained committed to the principles of Stoic philosophy, viewing adversity as an opportunity to practice virtue and resilience. In domestic policy, Marcus Aurelius was a reformer, seeking to improve the lives of his subjects through legal and administrative reforms. He continued the humanitarian efforts of his predecessors, focusing on the protection of the vulnerable, including slaves and children. His reign saw the implementation of measures to limit the power of slave owners, protect the rights of minors, and ensure fair access to justice for all citizens. Marcus's Stoicism informed his governance, emphasizing the common good and the rational administration of the empire. The death of Marcus Aurelius in 180 AD marked the end of the Pax Romana, the Roman peace that had lasted for over 2 centuries. It is rumored he also died from the Antonine plague at age 59 while campaigning in Austria. In a deviation from all his predecessors of the Golden Age, Aurelius nominated his son, Commodus, to succeed him. The contrast between Marcus's Stoic leadership and Commodus's excesses highlighted the fragility of the empire's stability, dependent on the character and philosophy of its ruler. Marcus Aurelius's legacy is twofold. As a ruler, he represented the zenith of the adoptive emperor system, embodying the virtues of wisdom, justice, and duty in all manner of events and crises that an emperor could face in his lifetime. As a philosopher, his meditations continue to inspire, a testament to the enduring power of Stoic thought and its applicability to the challenges of governance and personal conduct. But why did his death signal the end? Simple. As much as Marcus Aurelius had succeeded during his life, his nomination in death would undo it all. Commodus, the end of a dynasty. As the last echoes of Marcus Aurelius's Stoic wisdom faded into the annals of history, the Roman Empire stood on the precipice of a new era, markedly different from the Golden Age it had just experienced. With the ascension of Commodus in 180 AD, the principled tradition of merit-based succession, which had ensured the reign of capable and virtuous leaders, came to an abrupt end. This chapter marks not just the conclusion of the era of the 5 good emperors, but the beginning of a tumultuous period that would challenge the very foundations of the Roman Empire. Commodus, the biological son of Marcus Aurelius, inherited an empire at its peak, a legacy of prosperity and peace meticulously crafted by his father and the emperors before him. However, unlike his predecessors, whose reigns were defined by a commitment to duty, philosophy, and the welfare of the state, Commodus's rule was characterized by a stark departure from these ideals. His governance was marred by a proclivity for extravagance, a disdain for administrative responsibilities, and a penchant for self-indulgence that stood in sharp contrast to the Stoic virtues of Marcus Aurelius. The transition from Marcus Aurelius to Commodus represented a seismic shift in the ethos of Roman leadership. Where the 5 good emperors had seen the empire as a trust, to be governed with wisdom and foresight, Commodus viewed it as a means to personal glory and amusement. His infamous participation in gladiatorial games, efforts to rename Rome after himself, and the gradual erosion of the empire's political and economic stability were indicative of a ruler out of step with the realities of his time. The consequences of Commodus's reign were profound. The stability and growth that had characterized the era of the 5 good emperors gave way to increasing military threats, political instability, and economic decline. Do not forget that Commodus had inherited Rome after decades of strife and difficulty while maintaining the power of the Roman Empire, something only which the most skilled emperor could have accomplished, and his father did just that. The Senate, which had enjoyed a period of relative harmony and respect under the adoptive emperors, found itself once again marginalized, its authority undermined by Commodus's autocratic tendencies. This decline in imperial governance and the neglect of the military and administrative systems that had sustained the empire's expansion and stability led most obviously to internal friction and increased vulnerability on the frontiers. Commodus's assassination in 192 AD, a desperate act by conspirators seeking to save the state from further degradation, did little to restore stability. Instead, it plunged Rome into the year of the 5 emperors, a period of civil war and upheaval that underscored the fragility of the peace and prosperity once taken for granted. The responsibility for this dramatic reversal of fortune lies not solely in Commodus's personal failings, but in the broader context of his rule. By abandoning the principles of meritocratic succession and competent governance, Commodus unraveled the fabric of imperial administration that had supported the Roman Empire's most prosperous era. His reign, marked by a shift towards erratic despotism, served as a stark warning of the dangers inherent in the concentration of power without accountability. In the wake of Commodus's death, the Roman Empire faced challenges that tested its resilience and adaptability. The immediate aftermath saw a rapid succession of emperors, each struggling to assert control and restore order, but the long-term consequences were far more profound. The instability inaugurated a period known as the crisis of the 3rd century, characterized by military anarchy, economic collapse, and the fragmentation of imperial authority. Commodus's legacy, therefore, was not just the end of a dynasty, but a turning point that precipitated a broader decline. His rule illustrated the critical importance of leadership in the maintenance of empire and the delicate balance between authority and responsibility. After his fall, it became clear that his reign was a harbinger of the challenges to come. The centuries following his death would see the Roman Empire beset by civil wars, barbarian invasions, and a series of crises that would eventually lead to its division and decline. The era of enlightened rule, marked by the careful selection of leaders based on merit and virtue, had come to an end, replaced by a return to the uncertainties of hereditary succession and the inconsistent egos of individual rulers. As the Roman Empire transitioned into a period of decline, the lessons of the 5 good emperors and the missed opportunity represented by Commodus's reign resonate as a reminder of the importance of wise and principled governance, something that controls the fate of nations. To look back at Caesar's conquest, the Raven recommends subscribing and watching this video on the Roman takeover of Gaul.